Brace yourself. Minnesota is facing a significant flash flooding threat that could seriously disrupt your Monday morning commute. The final storm in a series is unleashing heavy rains across the southern half of the state, and there's a real chance it will trigger more flash flood warnings well into Monday morning. Here's the catch. The National Weather Service, NWS, has kept the flood watch active since Sunday, warning that fresh showers and storms are likely to cause additional flooding and flash flooding. What's more, this could hit during peak travel hours, spinning complications for motorists in the Twin Cities area. On Sunday evening, a particularly alarming update came from the NWS in the form of a mesoscale precipitation discussion indicating a risk of what they called potentially life-threatening flooding. This threat covers a wide area in southern Minnesota, including parts of the Twin Cities, and is tied to expected rainfall totals of 4 to 8 inches in some spots. To put this in perspective, such an amount can overwhelm drainage systems and lead to rapid water accumulation, endangering lives and property. Thankfully, overnight flooding mostly stayed below the most dangerous levels. The NWS credited a temporary lull from late evening to early morning that allowed soil and drainage systems to absorb and clear some of the water that fell earlier. While that's a small relief, not all areas experience the same break. For example, Waseca County in southern Minnesota has been hammered with significant rainfall throughout the weekend. This has resulted in numerous reports of streets flooding and roads being closed overnight, highlighting how sporadic and severe flooding impacts can be. As Monday morning unfolds, officials caution that the hardest-hit regions remain extremely vulnerable. In some places, as little as 1 to 2 inches of rain within 3 to 6 hours could trigger new flash flooding events. Given how saturated the ground already is, the NWS anticipates issuing additional flash flood warnings, especially for southern Minnesota, extending into western Wisconsin. Looking back at Sunday's severe weather timeline paints a clearer, more unsettling picture. Around late evening, the NWS repeatedly highlighted the risk of significant and life-threatening flooding, especially in south-central and southeastern Minnesota. Rainfall rates were predicted to reach 1 to 3 inches per hour overnight, potentially driving localized totals as high as 4 to 8 inches. The major metro areas in jeopardy include major counties around the Twin Cities, such as Hennepin, Ramsey, Dakota, Scott, Carver, Washington, and parts of Anoka County. This widespread shows how even urban centers aren't exempt from flash flood challenges. As for what to expect overnight, the storm system lurking over the Twin Cities is likely to linger past midnight, delivering more rain. Weather models forecast new storm cells forming in central Minnesota and the metro area around 3 a.m., with a larger storm system pushing into southwestern Minnesota by around 4 a.m., reaching the Twin Cities approximately at 8 a.m. This means Monday commuters should brace for a wet, turbulent drive, with rain expected to pour steadily from early morning until roughly 10 a.m., shifting earlier for southern regions. Urban flooding warnings are in effect in the 7-county Twin Cities area until midnight, with storms bringing heavy rainfall rates of about 2 inches per hour. Low-lying city streets and small streams may flood quickly, making travel hazardous. Authorities strongly advise against driving or walking through flooded zones, as the risks are substantial. Though the next storm system over the metro area isn't officially classified as severe, prompting only a special weather statement rather than a thunderstorm warning, residents should still prepare for strong wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. In southern Minnesota, flash flood warnings are active in places like Owatonna, Blooming Prairie, and Waseca until the early hours. These areas have already experienced intense rainbursts and remain vulnerable as storms push northeast. Even earlier Sunday evening, heavy rain was sweeping through Minneapolis and nearby West Side metro cities, intensifying with the approach of a larger system expected to hit the southern Twin Cities around 10 p.m. Severe thunderstorm warnings were issued for parts of the southwest Twin Cities metro, including Prior Lake and Savage, with damaging winds reaching up to 60 miles per hour. Additionally, regions like Mankato faced similar severe weather, with reports of high winds and hail the size of peas. The situation grew even more dangerous with tornado warnings issued for southern Minnesota locations such as Waldorf, Faribault, Waseca, Frost, and Winnebago. For example, storm chasers captured ominous skies near tornado-warned Waldorf, underlining how volatile the weather had become. Looking back at the weekend, the Twin Cities metro had already been drenched by up to 4 inches of rain from heavy showers and storms on Friday and Saturday. While southern Minnesota dealt with more than 4 inches early Sunday from a stalled system, officials emphasized that the ground and waterways are saturated, so even minimal additional rainfall could lead to swift runoff and flash flooding. This is why the Flood Watch warns of possible overflowing rivers, creeks, and streams, impacting low-lying and flood-prone areas. The storm's slow movement, projected at 20 to 25 miles per hour or less, combined with downpours reaching up to 2 inches per hour, raises the likelihood of flooding in affected regions. Even though pinpointing exact spots of heaviest rain is challenging until storms develop fully, high-resolution weather models consistently predict localized totals exceeding 4 inches during the most intense thunderstorms. This timeline boosts confidence in flood risks tonight, despite some geographic uncertainty. And let's not forget that some storms may turn severe, packing damaging winds and potentially hail, further exacerbating the threat. Here's the big question. How prepared are you for such a volatile weather situation? With urban and rural areas alike at risk, do you believe local authorities and emergency services have done enough to warn and protect residents? And considering the frequency of intense storms in recent years, is this a sign that Minnesota must rethink its approach to storm preparedness and flood management? Share your thoughts. Do you agree that these flash floods are an inevitable threat to our growing cities? Or can smarter infrastructure changes make a difference? The conversation is wide open, and your perspective matters.